In this video, let's just go over and see what we did so far in this first module on the box model section. In this lesson, we covered the 4 properties of the box model: height and width, padding, borders, and margins. Understanding the box model is an important step towards learning more advanced HTML and CSS topics. Let's take a minute to review what you learned. And let's see. The box model comprises a set of properties used to create space around and between HTML elements. The height and width of a content area can be set in pixels or percentage. Borders surround the content area and padding of an element. The color, style, and thickness of a border can be set with CSS properties. Padding is the space between the content area and the border. It can be set in pixels or percent units. Margin is the amount of spacing outside of an element's border. Horizontal margins add so the total space between the borders of adjacent elements is equal to the sum of the right margin of one element and the left margin of the adjacent element. Vertical margins collapse so the space between vertically adjacent elements is equal to the larger margin. Margin zero auto horizontally centers an element inside of its parent content area if it has a width set. The overflow property can be set to display, hide, or scroll and dictates how HTML will render content that overflows its parent's content area. The visibility property can hide or show elements. Let's see the instructions for this exercise. Make some adjustments to the code in the code editor. See if you can improve the appearance of the page by changing the following properties: width, height, padding, border, margin, and overflow. Okay, let's first start with the width property. Let's change the width property of the banner element with the ID of banner to 50% instead of 100%. And that is right here, this element right here. Now we cannot see the full width of the image because it is 50% of the total width of the page. Height 700 pixels. Let's change it to 300 pixels. And same element. It is much shorter now. Now let's play with padding. So let's change to 80 and 100 pixels for the element with the ID of main. And it is right here, this whole element with these titles and paragraphs. It has much more space on the left and right side, and also on the bottom and top. And we got the horizontal scrolling bar right here, you see. Now let's play with the border property. So let's change this to 10 pixels and let's change the style to dotted. And here is the border of age 1 element. Now let's find some margin. So we can play with the margin. This is element with the ID of main once again. And it has margin set to 0 auto, which means it centers horizontally. And now let's change this to, for example, 20 pixels and 0. Yeah, the whole element is much more broken now. it is much more pushed to the right side. Everything looks ugly now. Yeah, we destroyed the whole page. And now we have overflow of scroll, and let's change that to hidden. And now we cannot see the rest of the content in this main element. It is below this paragraph. There are more paragraphs and more text content, but we cannot see it because we set the fixed height of 1000 pixels and the overflow is hidden, but the rest of the content in this main element is placed below its height of 1000 pixels, so it's down here, and that's why we cannot see it. Okay, that should be all. You can play more with the code and experiment and see what you change on the page by tinkering with some CSS properties. And now let's proceed to the next section. The next section is called changing the box model.